community here are Dr. Warren Frankel and his wife Kathy.
Okay.
They bought some land as a retreat from LA back in the late 70s, started planting pistachios first. We have nearly 30 acres of pistachios. They moved here in 1988, started planting vines in 93. It was all Cabernet Sauvignon at first. They were happy to just sell the fruit, but then Paul, their youngest son, got involved. He was 7 when they started planting the vines, so at a very young age he learned Spanish, learned how to tend the vines, and then when he was 19, one of our neighbours made some wine for us. He assisted, he went to Cal Poly, did the enology, viticulture programs there. He took over at the age of 22 in 2008. We opened the tasting room in 2007. So this building used to be an iron workshop. So Bob Bentley worked from this building, still works with us now. He's been with us since around 98. So he did everything here in the tasting room, all the fixtures and fittings, as well as, of course, the gates up front that were just awesome.
Boy, those gates are amazing.
Yeah.
So he did all of this sculpture here.
So he did the ironworks. The first sculptor was John Jagger.
Is he still with us?
No, John was working with IBM in the 50s as a senior designer, took up sculpture in 1960. So by the time Dr. Frankel met him, I guess in the late 90s, he was living in Atascadero, looking for a final project before retirement. So John was with us for around 5 years. He designed the gardens and installed 12 sculptures before retiring and moving off to Texas. He sadly passed away 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago. He was in his 80s, but very prolific artist, did over 3,000 works in his lifetime.
Wow.
So even though we started off with 12 larger works of his, we're now up to 15. Now and again they'll come up for sale elsewhere, and Dr. Frankel will do his best to get hold of them. But of course we have other smaller versions of sculptures as well, some totally unique and some that were a limited series.
He did the cat with the whiskers.
He did, yes. The Golden Morning Cat was his favourite. He considered it his masterpiece. It faces the morning sun, so if you're here first thing in the morning, it looks beautiful. So Dale Evers came in 2013 as our sculptor in residence, as it were. So he started off in his earlier career doing sea life and then moved on to insects, and now it's quite an eclectic mix, but Focus has become his signature piece.
What year did you add that?
So that was at the end of 2013, I believe.
And this is 19, so we were here in 14. You said what year? 13?
13, yeah.
I started in town.
That might not have been here the first
Just to let you know.
Yeah, they're the main sculptures. We have a couple other works by Val Miller. She's based down near Cambria. She does mostly horses and such. Just a couple of hers. But we have a painting here by Robert Maha, W.B. Eckert, Josh Talbot, Steve Kalar, who did our original label designs back in 2005-06. He still works with us on various projects, including the art wall to this side of the building, which will eventually depict the history of what the timeline of winemaking.
Oh, wow.
15, 16 different artists. We've got Adrian over here is one of our visiting featured artists. Got some live photography over on this side. So a bit of everything.
Wow.
There's always something new to see.
So you almost have to be an artist as well as a wine person.
It draws
to
a
be
lot
here.
of people in, and that's what brought me here originally. Well, I've always been into wine, but it was the artwork that made me come to Sculpterra specifically.
That's your photography.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about you, because you're very interesting.
So in 2011, I was introduced online by a friend of mine to a friend of hers, Paso Robles girl, and we chatted online for a couple of years on Facebook, on Skype. So I came out in 2013 to stay with her. Sculpterra was the first place we came to together. She'd never been wine tasting despite growing up in Paso. So
Wow.
I wanted to come here to see the artwork especially. Turned out the wine's really good as well, so it's kind of so it's always been my favourite winery. But I moved out and married her in 2014. So yeah. No, Plymouth, England originally.
In England, okay.
But my vacations when I was living in England would generally be to Spain and France tasting wine. So I've always had that kind of that interest in wine.
So had you ever grown any wine or anything?
Not yet, no. I'm in the process now of looking into rootstock selections and such for growing some Tempranillo and nearby, so someday.
So you bought some property?
No, my in-laws live nearby and they have like 5 acres.
Okay.
They've got a 30-foot square patch that they said I can put whatever I like in. So.
Well, there you go.
But it's not as simple as just saying, I'd like Tempranillo. Apparently, I've looked into it recently, and you've got to choose the right rootstock for it to be grafted onto for various, to be tolerant of things like phylloxera and nematode.
Right. Same thing in
and such,
citrus.
So, yeah.
We're
So,
4th generation citrus growers, and we always chose the rootstock depending on the soil and the temperatures.